Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 80. We're available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian podcast, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. Today, we're going to be talking about gaming and entertainment news, including Sony buying Bungie and the new Halo TV series. Then we'll quickly dive into our recent activities like Pokemon Legends Arceus. Lastly, our thoughts on the latest Nintendo Direct. So, first piece of news, we're just going to dive right into it. Sony buys Bungie for $3.6 million. So, obviously, this is a response to Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Not as big of a purchase, but still Bungie is a very big staple within the gaming industry, especially since they brought in the series of Halo and eventually Destiny. And Destiny obviously didn't get to the start that they probably wanted to. It's kind of hard to live up to those expectations of Halo, especially because they were doing a live service kind of game as well. And I think Destiny now has sort of stabilized with like a very tight-knit community and people that are very much willing to give whatever Bungie has in store for either the Destiny series or whatever they have next in store with this new Sony partnership. And Sony said that they are going to remain a multi-platform studio for Bungie and with the option to self-publish and reach players wherever they choose to play. So
yeah, I mean, this is pretty interesting because, Bungie, was owned by Microsoft for a while. Then they broke out of it. Then it was bought by Activision, which, funny enough, is now bought by Microsoft. And then Bungie sort of broke off from Activision because they want to be independent, because they want to, make whatever they want to make while Activision, breathing down their neck. And now they got brought out by Sony. But obviously this is a different deal now because Sony's already saying, oh, you could remain multi-platform and you could basically be independent. You just have our money, I guess. That's what they're going for. Sony's just gonna provide Bungie with a lot of budget, to make whatever expansions or next games they want to do for either Destiny or whatever new IP they want to do. So again, that sounds like a good deal. I don't know how true that is, but if they're saying it, then maybe. I know Destiny has I play a bit of Destiny. I don't really play it regularly or anything, but I know they had some exclusive content for Sony consoles before, and people hated that. So I don't know if Bungie really wants to have that bad press again. So they might just leave it like this. Because I don't know, when it comes to MMOs and stuff or any live service game, I think having exclusive content for one console is really dumb. Because that's basically just locking content from everyone else. It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully Destiny 2 doesn't get affected by it. If they wanted to do an exclusive new IP for Sony, then I guess no one could really complain about that. But if they are going to do a Destiny 3 also, then yeah, it probably would be smart just to keep it multi-platform, because I think Sony would just make more money at that point if they just collect some money from the microtransactions from Destiny 2 and all that other stuff. So yeah, kind of a new thing we're seeing here with these companies buying other companies where they want to be kind of hands off, but just I guess passively collect money from them from microtransactions and stuff. It seems to be a new strategy. I don't know how this is going to work out, but it looks like Microsoft wants to do that with Call of Duty as well. So I guess we're going to have to just see how that turns out and if that's just better for the gaming, ecosystem, or if it's worse. I don't know yet. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting because, like you said, Bungie, they've been tossed around everywhere from Microsoft to Activision and now to Sony. So interested to see what they have coming up next, because I'm not sure exactly what Bungie's been doing recently. They've been really, really quiet in terms of what they've been sort of working on. I obviously don't follow anything Destiny related, so they might have some new stuff planned.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
They're doing they have 4 expansions in the works. They're okay. They have a whole thing. But I think there's rumors they're making a new IP, but that's not confirmed or anything. So
yeah, and rumors are rumors at the end of the day, so we don't really know exactly what they have planned in store. And in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to I guess the big 3, when it comes to video games, Sony definitely plays as the bad guy most of the time. So yeah, we'll see how faithful they stay to their words as of right now, with them being a multi-platform studio and Bungie able to do whatever they want. Obviously, that could turn any day now when CEO Jim Ryan wants to do something exclusive or whatever, and like you said, having content exclusively locked behind a certain console, especially for MMOs, and having sort of, I guess, that player base where they're mostly gonna interact with each other cross-platform and all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
It does seem a little weird to just have a certain thing locked behind one console, but now that it's under Sony, it can definitely be much more feasible and much more common, and it's just something that they would have to deal with as a studio under Sony now. So
yeah, like the wording they put, because Destiny, like I guess Bungie released a thing for like Destiny, like what's going to happen with Destiny, and the wording was very like careful, because the next expansion, Witch Queen, for Destiny 2 is like, oh, all content in Witch Queen is going to be for everyone, but it didn't really specify like future expansions, so people were like really sussy about that. They're like, well, you said the current expansions and what we know, like they also said Lightfall, which I think is the expansion after that, but that's already announced to be multi-platform, so we don't know if the next expansion is going to be only for like Sony, which I doubt, but you know, they chose the wording carefully is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I don't know, they might try to pull something, but I don't know, I doubt it, because I think that's just going to cause way too much of a issue with like the player base. So
yeah, I mean, timed exclusives are still a thing, and you know, that can definitely be in the realm of possibilities, but we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right, so next, I get some more technically Bungie stuff. Halo, the series, is they're making a Halo show. It's going to be premiering on Paramount Plus, if anyone has that. And yeah, they released a trailer, and a lot of people really hated it. Yes. I just saw it right now, because I didn't even see it. I saw it when it, like, you know, when people were talking about it, but I didn't actually see it. And I guess I could kind of see why. I mean, I'm not like a big, like, I play Halo mostly for the multiplayer. Like, I like playing the campaigns and stuff, but it's been so many years I don't remember like anything of the lore or whatever.
Yeah, same.
And you know, I really should go back. I have the Master Chief Collection and all that. I should really do that. But you know, I mostly just play for the multiplayer. I don't really care that much. But you know, a lot of people are saying like it's like demolishing lore and all that. Just from what I could see, like I think the Master Chief suit looks kind of cool. Like it's faithful as shit to the game. Like, it looks really cool. Cortana is in blue. She's like gray, which I guess is kind of an issue. But in terms of everything they were talking about, I don't have an expert opinion, because I don't really know too much about the lore. So
I mean, you know, from I guess a new perspective as well, just seeing the production value put into the show is really, really nice. It, like you said, Master Chief suit and everything around the show, like it looks like this does take place within the Halo universe, and I think that they definitely nailed that part of the show. And I'm sure, you know, honestly, after I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, look, like, this could be good. I'm not entirely, you know, sold on it just yet, because there's a lot of side characters, and people are like, Master Chief's probably going to be the side character, and they're going to focus on these other dumbass characters that no one cares about within a Halo series, which is probably true, and I hope that they don't do that. But, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see when this drops on Paramount Plus, I believe mid-March, or towards the end of March 24th. But, yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like Halo, but how faithful is it to the story? Like you said earlier, David, I'm not entirely sure as well, because it's been years since I played those Halo games, and for the story of Halo, I forget exactly what was happening. I know that, you know, Master Chief was trying to like save the world and everything like that, but you know, exactly.
He got like, yeah, Cortana became evil, and like, oh, that's my wife, and then like, yeah, he went crazy, I think.
I think in Halo 4 he like simped like really hard or some shit. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like a Halo show, but what the contents of it are gonna be, we're just gonna have to wait and see. And I'm sure that if there was a sort of like dislike visibility, we would see how many dislikes this has, because, you know, I'm just by looking at the comments themselves, there's 15,000 comments. That's a shit ton of comments.
Yeah.
And most of the top ones have thousands of upvotes, and I'm sure it's because, you know, Halo fans are sort of, you know, using those comments as a way for them to sort of also voice their opinion and agree with those people that are saying, yeah, this looks a little weird. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to turn out, but they also remixed the iconic Halo theme, which I kind of noticed, but didn't really notice until I saw the discourse on Twitter and that comment. But yeah, I don't know why they decided to remix that song in particular, because it's probably within top 5, maybe even top 2 most iconic songs within video games. So
yeah, like that just seems like easy, like nostalgia, like bait you could get for people. Like, I don't know why they just didn't like just use the song, like you know, just do it. It seems like an easy way to get like good shots for people, but yeah, I guess I could see the issue people are having with like, oh, Master Chief might get sidelined. I think there's a good opportunity to like kind of flesh out his character, because he's kind of just like like a machine. I know that's the point. Like it's two ways, right? Like there's not much you could do with his character without like ruining his character. So maybe that's why they want to focus on more side people to like actually have a show. But I also think it's like kind of cool if they actually went more into his character, because the games don't really do that too much. I don't think. Like he's mostly just like stoic, like Master Chief. You know what I mean? So like they probably could have just done that too. But again, I don't know. The show isn't out yet. Like in terms of the production value looks good though. Like I think the Covenant and stuff look cool. They have energy swords. Like it looks pretty good, like in terms of like just visuals and stuff. But
yes,
I mean that's how I felt about the Cowboy Bebop show, right? Like I think like the set designs and costume designs were like pretty good, and like the Netflix Cowboy Bebop, but everything else probably wasn't very good. That got canceled. So it could be the same thing here. Like it's faithful in terms of like looks, but in terms of writing, we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so next bit of news we got here is Google quietly shoveling Google Stadia. So I'm not surprised by this.
Yeah.
No one's really surprised by this. I think every single time we talk about the Stadia and streaming video games, it's always like, yeah, it's like super cool and new technology, and everything's about streaming these days. When you look at other pieces of media like TV shows, movies, people love streaming that. And music, like I think the music industry really does benefit from streaming, despite the royalties the artists get paid out, especially on Spotify. Like it's really fucking low. But I think that because of streaming music, a lot of people are able to listen to new artists and listen to new music, and it's sort of brought back the music industry in a way, if you really look at it. But anyways, streaming is the new thing, and streaming video games seems like a really like logical step, right? And when you have Google here, who's probably one of the biggest companies on the planet, unable to be successful with it, it's probably because it's too new of technology. And also Google, like in general, with their sort of gaming department, they were gonna have exclusive games, and then they had like their own studio, and then they sort of shoveled that as well. So yeah, them quietly trying to push this away and sort of not think about Google Stadia anymore is reasonable, and them trying to sell it off to different companies as well is a bit interesting. So yeah, Google Stadia, from the moment that it was announced, I felt like that this was going to crash and burn.
Yeah, plus Google really doesn't have a good track record with like sort of like bringing up new things and like maintaining them. Like if it's not like a instant hit, they just kind of abandon it. And everyone was calling that with the Stadia, and it happened. Even us, when we were talking about it in the podcast, like, I just don't think like a lot of people's internet are like stable enough for like this sort of thing.
Yes,
like I don't think my internet is stable enough to like like yeah, for streaming shows and music, that's different because you're like just watching it, and like 1080p I don't think is that hard to maintain on like internet connection. But video games, yeah, maintain a lot more like frames and stuff. And when you're directly inputting commands and you feel any like a slight lag, input lag, then it's over. Like it just feels like shit to play a game. So I just think streaming games are just not there yet. I think everyone has to be like in a certain bar of like internet connection to make that even work. Like we have to have the option where like Wi-Fi basically equals like wired, which I don't think will happen like anytime soon. But because a lot of people don't have a wired connection, it's just like on their TV, like whatever, they don't fucking care. So yeah, I think like until we could really have that fixed, which is more like an issue with like internet service providers and stuff, then I don't think streaming games is going to be like a reality anytime soon. I think it's going to be good if you could really afford that good internet, and if you're like already kind of like a gamer to begin with. But any layman, which is I think is what this is like really targeting towards, like it's just not going to work out, unless you're playing like a turn-based like RPG or something where it doesn't really matter about inputs and stuff. But yeah, everything we said before basically came and bite Stadia in the ass, and now this is where it is. So yeah, good job, Google. They didn't really fix that. It would have been cool if Google actually tried to solve some of these issues, and maybe to try to like fix how streaming games would even work. But at this point, I think Microsoft is probably doing that more so than Google with like xCloud and stuff, and just Game Pass in general. So yeah, Stadia really didn't have a place at all, and you barely see it anywhere anymore. Like, I haven't seen it since they like released this thing. So yeah, it's basically on its way out, around, like before this news broke out. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and this is gonna sound really, really old. Do you remember OnLive? This was like the sort of like cloud game. Yeah, exactly. Like this sort of technology, sort of like streaming cloud gaming stuff. Like it it has its history of just like not working right now for whatever reason. I feel like the gaming audience just doesn't want to stream games, and like if you can stream games, there's a lot of sort of hurdles that you have to get over. For example, like you said, the internet connection. Like a lot of people in America, just because of how America is with internet, it's really dog shit. Like most people don't have a really stable connection to stream games, let alone, do their Zoom calls with their work or school or whatever. So having them to stream a brand new video game, that's going to be very difficult. And even if you do have, the best internet, the best sort of like setup for it, there's probably going to be some sort of input delay. Like there's no doubt about that. I feel like that when it comes to streaming games, there's going to be some sort of input delay without a doubt. Compared to you actually having the game either downloaded or physically in a console, there's going to be some sort of input delay compared to the whole streaming thing. And even with Stadia, doing the whole like, $10 a month sort of service, why would you do that when you could get Game Pass and you could just download the games and, have whatever games you want on there? And there's an extensive library of those games as well. With Stadia, it's mostly third-party titles. Like there's no exclusives on Stadia, and if there is an exclusive on Stadia, that game's gonna die. That game is not gonna do well on the platform just because everyone knows that no one's really using Stadia. Like I feel like if you look at the general gaming audience, I feel like most like hardcore gamers would know what Stadia is, but most of them wouldn't even be using it, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
There's like no reason to. No, yeah. There's like no real reason to really get Stadia, like compared to other services like Xbox Game Pass and even Nintendo Online. I'm gonna be honest, like Nintendo Online is like, when it comes to the game library, like at least there's games that people actually want to play, right? And like there are games on there that you can't play anywhere else as well. So, I'm not saying Nintendo Online's good because I still don't pay for that $35 a month or whatever to play the N64 games or whatever. But
right.
Even with that, with like the base service, you get NES and SNES games, which can be nostalgic for some people, and there are online capabilities for those games as well. With Stadia, you're pretty much getting a bunch of third-party games that some of them might even be on Game Pass, and some of them you could find elsewhere on other sites, and downloading them and whatever the case is. There's no real reason to get Stadia other than to try out streaming games, and obviously it's still too new of a service to really try out, and I feel like that streaming games within the next even 5 years doesn't really have a future within gaming in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like even like the cloud-based service that we see that a lot with the Switch games, like the Kingdom Hearts games just came out on cloud, I think, and it's like unplayable because I think too many people try like go to that thing and just doesn't work. So that's funny. See, I think all these like streaming and cloud-based gaming services, like I think they just need more time in the oven before like they are like available to people. But even then, I would rather just, people are very iffy on downloading games like digitally. Like I don't really mind that much, but like some people still just want physical games. This is like the next level because you don't even own it physically, you don't own it digitally, you're just like streaming it. So for game preservation is also like not great. Like it just has a lot of issues. But it does have a lot of upside, so we're gonna have to see how like other gaming companies really like develop it further. And I think Microsoft's probably gonna be the one that like pushes it more. Mm-hmm. And I think Sony's trying to do something too. Like Nintendo's just there, so like it really is gonna determine from Microsoft and Sony and not Google. I mean, sorry, because Google is just like they're very done with this race. They had fun like for the year they did it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I don't really see Google Stadia or streaming games in general having a future within this space as of right now, just because there's so many hurdles to get past, and I'm not exactly sure what those solutions would be just because of how it is in America in particular with internet and everything like that.
Yeah, ISPs are kind of shit. So all right, so we got some news here that just like the most anticlimactic way to announce something. So GTA 6 it's coming. And that's all not Microsoft, Rockstar had to say. So basically they were just saying like, hey, yeah, we know you guys want GTA 6 and it's happening. And, we know that. Like, obviously what the hell will Rockstar make, right? They made Red Dead 2 like 2 years ago? Oh, no, that was like 3 years ago. Jeez. Like, all right, so they made Red Dead 2 like 3 years ago. And so obviously they had to be working on GTA 6. I think they canceled Bully 2 because it just wasn't working out. So yeah, there was no doubt that they were making a GTA 6. But them just kind of announcing it like this is always really lame. I just don't like when things just announce things in blog posts like this. Like I did, Guild Wars 2 expansion was announced during the blog post for like no reason. Like, oh yeah, we're making a new expansion. Bye. What was the other thing? There was another thing. Shit. Oh, Blizzard with the new Blizzard survival game. They're like, oh yeah, we're making a new game. Like that's a big deal. And you're just gonna be like, nah, we're just gonna put in a blog post, whatever. That just feels very anticlimactic to me. But whatever. But yeah, GTA 6. It's on the way, but I'm pretty sure they say don't expect it anytime soon. We still haven't even gotten the new GTA 5 port to PS5 and Xbox Series X for some reason. Like that still isn't a thing yet. So yeah, I think we're gonna be stuck with GTA 5 for at least halfway through this generation. Like I think GTA 6 is gonna be a bit of a ways off. Like I suspect we're gonna get this game when like the pro versions of a PS5 and Xbox Series X comes out. Which sucks because I play GTA mostly just to dick around and stuff. I don't really like play them. But I feel for those fans. I mean, it's kind of how I feel about Mario Kart 8 getting new game. We'll talk about that later. But I'm just like, can you make another game? So yeah, I definitely feel those fans. Especially because GTA 5 has been since like 2013. Like, I always forget it wasn't like a PS4 Xbox One game. It was like a 360 PS3 game before that, which is insane to me. So yeah, I could imagine GTA 5 is getting quite stale for people who play that like every day. I know GTA Online gets updated all the time, but yeah, I would imagine it's getting kind of boring at this point. And I hope Rockstar really does knock it out of the park with GTA 6. I mean, Red Dead 2 was a really good game apparently, so probably they have it in them. But yeah, just the knowing that you have to wait so long until you get the next game does kind of suck.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this announcement, them being like, hey, we're making GTA 6, I'm kind of just like, well, what the fuck were they going to do, guys? Do you guys really think that they're going to sit on GTA 5 for like another 10 years or whatever? Obviously, like, they were working on GTA 6 after GTA 5, like 100%, whether it's in like the early stages of like trying to figure out what they want to do or whatever, because when you look at GTA 5, it was released on Xbox 360 and PS3 on 2 discs because it was that big of a game. And obviously every single GTA game that they've made since the first one and going forward, they've always tried to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And with GTA 3, that was sort of like their big breakout sandbox gaming moment. And then they were like, all right, well, every single one that they made afterwards, that was a big, from GTA 3 to GTA 4, it was always bigger and it was always better. So going from GTA 5 to 6, they're going to have to one-up themselves. And, with how big GTA 5 already was, because they're able to do everything with the online stuff, and that's how they've been able to be financially stable, kind of, and people are still buying GTA 5 to this day because of the GTA Online stuff, which is kind of crazy to me and like doesn't really sort of I guess hit me still, because I'm just like, people are still buying GTA 5 every single day. Like there's at least like thousands of copies of this game being pushed, and they're still making copies of this game on consoles, and it's like people really still play GTA. Like that is just insane to me and crazy. So them being like, hey, we're making GTA 6. Am I surprised? No. Would I have liked them to do something a little more flashier? Maybe like a logo reveal, maybe like a poster, something, something early on that they could share with the fans. Sure, why not? But, them announcing, hey, we're making GTA 6, I'm not really that surprised by it. It does suck for the GTA fans that have been waiting so goddamn long for this next entry, that, they've been getting all this online stuff and not like an actual like next game or whatever. It does suck for them, but Rockstar, they want to make sure that they get it right, because especially with everything that's been going on with other sort of gaming studios and publishers, everyone saw what happened with Cyberpunk 2077, right? So like they don't want to have GTA 6 sort of suffer that, where they rush it out just because people want it really, really badly. They want to make sure that they get it right, that they do it right. And I'm sure a lot of that also had to sort of stress them out when they were making GTA 5, putting that game for that game, like as big as it was and how insane it was, it should not have ran on the fucking PS3 and the Xbox 360. Like 100%. Yeah. Like that game was pushing those consoles to the absolute goddamn limit. But, they were able to move it to the PS4 and Xbox One, and now to the next gen consoles, which are the PS5 and Xbox Series X/S. It is kind of crazy that they have been able to keep this game alive for 3 generations straight, and them being like, hey, now we're sort of, I guess, like ready to announce that we are working on GTA 6 is nice to hear, but it might, surprise that they announced it. Not really. People like freaking out on, social media that, oh my God, GTA 6 is, being made. It's like, well, did you think that they were going to continue doing GTA 5 stuff forever? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, plus it's just like, what else would they be working on? You know what I mean? And the same thing with Bethesda. It's like, yeah, of course they're going to make Elder Scrolls 6. Like, that's kind of like their thing. Like, yeah, they have Fallout, but it just did Fallout 4. And they're doing Starfield, but like, yeah, after that, doing Elder Scrolls 6. So, yeah, like, these companies don't really have a lot of IPs. So, yeah, they would just do the thing they're known for. And, I think it's time. Like, GTA 5 has been game milk for so long. So, I'm happy to see this something new. So... And hopefully it turns out good, because, yeah, we don't want another Cyberpunk situation where it just comes out very broken and just ruins your reputation forever. So I'm sure we're going to see, like, a lot of stories about, like, crunch and stuff. I'm pretty sure Red Dead 2 was also, like, made under a lot of crunch. So, yeah, it's just something with the gaming industry that we have fixed. But, if people want games, then I guess that's just how things are, I guess, which is awful. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion that we talked about before. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure when they officially announce this game, it's going to get delayed like a number of times, like without a doubt. I am not going to be surprised when they announce it or even give it like a solid date. I'm like, that's not going to be the date. Like, until I see it in stores, it's not out. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's that. Last story we had here is Lightyear got a brand new trailer, sort of fleshing out, I guess, Buzz's sort of character a little more and giving us an idea of what this movie is actually going to be about. So yeah, I mean, I like Buzz Lightyear. I like the Toy Story movies, and this one is taking a very different approach with the character and a much different look for Pixar movies as well, because this is in collaboration with Disney as well and not just a Pixar Studios thing. So yeah, I'm excited for it still. Chris Evans within the role of Buzz. He actually doesn't sound like Chris Evans, which is good.
I was going to say, yeah.
I thought that they were just going to, have Chris Evans just thrown in there and just have him voice himself, but he actually does have a little bit of, I guess, like, a different voice as a voice actor, which is nice. Because, when you have these on-screen actors go to voice acting, most of the time they're sort of just like, I'm just going to say what I say normally. And like, it is a little bit jarring, especially with certain characters, which is why everyone's concerned about Chris Pratt being Mario and shit like that. But yeah, this movie seems like it's still going to have that sort of fun Disney Pixar charm, but, have maybe a slightly more serious story for Buzz Lightyear. So that can be fun.
To me, Mario. No, but no, yeah, Chris Evans like did a good job. Like in the beginning, I like totally forgot he was even voicing, but I thought it was like Tim Allen still. I'm like, oh yeah, it is freaking Chris Evans. Like towards the later part of the trailer, I could tell it was like not Tim Allen's like Buzz Lightyear, but during the beginning, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really convincing like sound like alike he just did right there. But yeah, in terms of the movie itself, it looks like interesting. I don't think Disney and Pixar don't really do a whole lot of like, I guess like super serious, more actiony focused things like a lot. Like I know that, like Disney did like the Raya, the Last Dragon, but I don't think that did very well. But yeah, they don't really focus on like these more like, I guess, serious type deals. So it's gonna be cool. I mean, obviously it's not gonna be totally serious. Like I said, it's gonna have, it's like still like a kids movie and stuff. But it's gonna be interesting to see like, I guess, the origins of Buzz Lightyear. I still don't really know what it's supposed to be. Like I don't know if it's like a like this is like what Buzz Lightyear was based off of. I don't know if it's like an in-universe movie of Buzz Lightyear, but whatever it is, it looks pretty cool. Like they show some things, like you saw Zurg there, and he's like a big old robot that looks pretty cool. But yeah, I love the Toy Story movies, and I'm sure this is gonna have sort of the same charm. I wonder if we're gonna get there's a Woody movie. Like just out here's just like a cowboy movie just with Woody. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I actually really like the cartoon they did too, like a while, like that was like a long time ago with the Space Rangers. That I like that as a kid, but yeah, no, it looks good. I hope they don't mess it up, because I really like Toy Story 4. I know some people didn't. Like I like Toy Story 4 more than 3, and like that was sort of like a good cap. So I'm kind of glad they're not just doing another Toy Story. Instead of doing like something like this, I think this is cool. So yeah, as long as they don't keep milking Toy Story like and doing like more unique ways like this, I'm totally okay with that. Yeah,
they're just trying to find ways to get people to buy Buzz Lightyear action figures, and they're like, well, we'll just make a Lightyear movie, whatever, because Toy Story obviously is to sell toys, but they don't want to do Toy Story 5 just because of how Toy Story 4 ended, which I'm in the same boat as you. I don't find it better than Toy Story 3, but I did like Toy Story 4 for what it was, and sort of as the as a cap off for the rest of the series and sort of having Woody's, I guess, complete arc like as a character / toy or whatever. But yeah, Lightyear, I hope that it does well. I know that a lot of the Pixar / Disney animated stuff has been being shoved onto Disney Plus and sort of suffer because of that, which is unfortunate. So, hopefully this does get a theater release with everything going on. I'm not exactly sure how better it's going to get in June 17th when this does drop, but hopefully, the world state situation gets better at that point. And I'm sure Disney and Pixar know the numbers of everything with their animated stuff. And, this one's definitely like their biggest one yet because it is already part of an established IP with Toy Story. So, they want this in theaters. They want, parents and children all in the theater enjoying this movie because that'll make them more money than just having them buy it on Disney Plus and, have it be on there.
Yeah, and I know Pixar is like really salty by the amount of all their movies being on just Disney Plus with no premiere access. So yeah, I don't know if Disney will really let. Plus, it's like a joint thing with Disney and Pixar. So yeah, they probably are gonna just push it on movie theaters instead.
Yeah, okay. Now let's get into our recent activities. So I'll go first real quick because I'm not going to discuss these for that long. So I read the first volume of Rent a Really Shy Girlfriend. So this is a spin-off featuring one of the Rent a Girlfriend characters. I believe her name is Sumi. Just let me make sure I get that right. Yep, Sumi. And it feels like kind of like Komi Can't Communicate, sort of like episodic like stories with her. Like every single chapter is a brand new situation with her trying to sort of overcome her shyness as a rent-a-girlfriend, because when you're a rent-a-girlfriend you kind of have to be chatty and sort of give the client a good time, but I guess most of her clients just don't give a shit and give her 5 stars anyways or whatever. But you also get to see, I guess, like inside of like her psyche and inside of her character and sort of like her origins of like how she met Chizuru before you see her within the first season of Rent-a-Girlfriend. So yeah, it's a pretty cool spin-off. I'm not exactly sure if this one is still ongoing, but I'm gonna keep picking it up because I like Rent-a-Girlfriend. It's a fun series for me to read. I enjoy the characters, all that other stuff. Then I've been playing a lot of Riot Games stuff. Just gonna briefly talk about these. So I've been playing League of Legends every once in a while, just because I like watching the LCS now, because Cloud9's team and the LCS is very interesting. I love LS as a content creator, and I always think that he's a very smart person to discuss and talk about the game, and whenever he says things about the game, most of the time I agree with him. So he's coaching C9 this season, which is very interesting, and he brought in a bunch of Korean players to form this roster of C9, and their LCS games are definitely the most exciting just because of how they draft and what they're picking. Like, I know you don't play League anymore, Damian, but like he picked Soraka mid. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, let's go.
And they won, and it's kind of crazy. So LS definitely is reshaping how League of Legends is played and sort of showing his big brain drafts and shit like that. So yeah, it's very, very exciting to watch LCS again, just because of that one team, in my opinion. But playing League, I'm playing with Jeffrey. I'm not gonna solo queue my way in there. I'm not doing this shit alone. But yeah, I still have fun. People are still toxic and dumbasses, but you just mute them and move on with it. There was definitely a game yesterday that I won that we shouldn't have won, but just outsmarted the other support player, and he was salty and brought up my 2.3 million champion points on Thresh or whatever the fuck, and I was just like, Lamau, GG, and then he left. But
got him.
Anyways, I play TFT every once in a while just because that's the only game I could really play where I could like watch a podcast or like listen to music and just like chill out. I don't really have a lot of games like that where I could really do that without like, where I like have to hear like what's going on within the game. I could do that with League, but like I'm playing with Jeffrey, so like I don't want to do that. And with Valorant, you kind of have to hear like what the fuck's going on. But yeah, TFT, just been chilling out playing that every once in a while. Some games are 6, some games are top 4. Who the fuck knows? And then Valorant. Valorant is the tactical FPS shooter that I still enjoy a lot. Watching competitive, watching streamers, everything around Valorant, I have a lot of fun doing. And playing it, I can see myself getting a little bit better every games or so that I'm playing every couple of days or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been doing. School has been kicking my ass, which is why it's not a lot been going on, but Damian's been grinding this one game that he will now discuss.
Yeah, same thing. I also been it's been school has been it's been going, But I have been able to play a bit of Legends Arceus. Actually, I had a lot of Legends Arceus. I wanted to finish it before the podcast. I'm like literally at the end of the story, but I didn't have enough time to do that. But I don't think that matters too much. With like my opinion, it's basically like, set at this point. The game is really good, and when I was playing it when it first came out, I was like, this game was really good. Like, am I okay to say that? And then I went on Twitter and like Reddit and stuff, and like everyone was like, yeah, the game is pretty good. I'm like, yeah, all right. So yeah, the game is like really good. This is about the step up I wanted from Pokemon as soon as it went on the Switch. Because like I said in the last podcast, I think all the Switch Pokemon games have been pretty like mediocre. Like none of them have really like been that great. At least the mainline Pokemon games have been all like pretty mediocre on Switch. For some people, like Pokemon's been mediocre since like X and Y. So it's been quite a while since like people have been pretty positive on the game. Obviously, the one real negative with the game is the graphics. Like, yeah, the game does look pretty garbage. And I think that's more so just like its art design, being that I don't really think it has one. Like the textures are just all very basic. Like the world doesn't really like pop at you. Like it's not like Breath of the Wild where it's like pretty stylized and stuff, or Xenoblade where it's like really like scaled to be huge and stuff, and like you can see like things all in the background and stuff, and it's like amazing. Like Pokemon is just very flat, and like the textures are very flat, and nothing really like pops out. I think if they went for a more watercolor like type thing, like in some of the trailers, and since it's supposed to be like Sinnoh's like more like ancient Japan and shit, like I think that would have fit the theming a lot, and it would have just made the game look nice. Like even like the water, you could have made it like that Okami, like sort of like watercolory type thing. I think would look pretty sick, but they didn't do that. And that's also what I said about Sword and Shield, where I'm like, I don't know why Pokemon keeps going for this more realistic art style for the environments when it just doesn't fit the game. Like, the game is very anime, so you might as well just make it more stylized anyway. Like even when I was playing Tales of Arise, like that game is also like a little more cel shaded and stuff, so you might as well just do that as well. But besides that, like I think the game is like a ton of fun. Basically the whole game is you just catching Pokemon and filling out the Pokedex. There's the story and stuff, and I actually like the story a little bit. The characters aged up to be like 15 or something in this game, so the game like talks about you dying a lot. I'm like, Jesus, calm down, game. The Pokemon just kill you in this game, so like good luck with that, which I thought was pretty cool. They go into more lore about the Sinnoh stuff and like Dialga and Palkia and all that. I think that's really cool as well, because base Diamond and Pearl didn't really do that. But in terms of like the actual gameplay and stuff, most of the time you are just going to be like catching Pokemon, and I think that gameplay loop is going to be really dependent on you if you find it fun for like hours on end. I think it's really fun. Basically the whole new mechanic is you could like just catch your Pokemon in the overworld, and most of the time you're going to be sneaking around them, using different ways to catch them. So you could like throw berries at them. They will eat it. You just get like back shots on them, so you get like a crit like catcher basically and stuff, and it's like surprisingly really fun. And the thing that also makes like completing the Pokedex fun in this game is the research task, which basically means when you capture a Pokemon, usually that means you complete a Pokedex in any other game, right? Like, oh, you captured a Pokemon, that's it. In this game, when you capture the Pokemon, it's just one step of completing the Pokemon's like sort of like entry. Like now you have a bunch of research tasks you could do, and you could sort of mix and match them wherever one you want. So you could capture a bunch of them, you could like beat them up, you could kill them with a certain like special effective move and stuff, watch them evolve. Like there's a bunch of different ways to get your dex level to 10, and once it's level 10, then you complete that Pokemon. You can also like get a perfect like research page, which is like doing everything, but that's way too grindy for me, so I won't do that. But yeah, I think that adds even more layers to like just capturing Pokemon, and it makes sense in terms of like the game too, right? Like just capturing the Pokemon isn't enough to like really like know about them. Like seeing them do different things like will make that research page fill up, and I think that's pretty cool. And that's basically the main gameplay loop, is just exploring and finding Pokemon. And I think it works out really well. In other open world games, usually you have different activities or like towers to climb and all this other stuff. Like in Zelda, it's like finding shrines and Koroks and stuff. In this game, it's mostly just finding Pokemon, which is fine. I think the game could have done with having more activities. Like there's some mini games, but it really isn't like a ton. So if they ever do another Legends game, I think having some more open world activities besides capturing Pokemon would be pretty cool. Like just like, oh, you could like do this little mini dungeon or do this or that. Like I think that would like spice up the gameplay besides just capturing Pokemon, because to some people that could get old after the first area, right? I've seen that a lot online where some people say, oh, the game is really fun, but gets really repetitive towards like the rest of the game. And yeah, I could see that, but I found the joy of finding each Pokemon and capturing alpha Pokemon, which are like big boy strong Pokemon that are harder to catch. Like I just found that gameplay loop to be fun enough to carry me throughout the whole game. Also there's like side quests and stuff, and like I just think it just feels so fleshed out, like that no other 3D Pokemon game has, because every other 3D Pokemon game before this game has basically felt like it could just been like a 2D sprite game. Like they didn't do enough with the Pokemon formula to really warrant to be 3D. This game is something that could only be done in like a 3D setting, and I think this is the evolution Pokemon really needed. Again, it has its problems, like, it could get really repetitive. The story presentation is pretty bad. Like, even though I think the story is pretty cool, the characters still like do an animation and just go back to the idle pose and keep talking. There's no voice acting, which, like, usually I didn't mind in the 3DS games, but now it's just really distracting when you just like don't hear anything coming out of a character's mouth. Like, I think some voice acting would be nice. Like, even if it's bad, like I would take that over just like the pure silence. Like, just make it have a Japanese option if people really don't want to hear English dub or whatever, and like you'll be fine. I think just more cutscenes in general as well. There's just too many like in-game like talking moments where like it just feels very static. And I think more dungeons would be nice too. Like, there's maybe like 2 dungeons you do in this game. I think having more of those would be fun as well. And just more fighting as well. Like, the game is really prioritized on catching Pokemon. And I have like this busted team, but I have really nothing to use it on because I'd rather just capture them in the overworld, because I think that's faster and more fun than to capture them in battle. So I think having more trainer battles or something would be nice to have as well, just so I can actually like use the combat mechanics. And speaking of combat, like, yeah, I think the combat is a lot better than the last few Pokemon games, because I feel like the big gimmick with Agile and Strong Style just like makes more strategic sense. Like, Mega Evolution, Z moves, and Dynamaxing were all like I win buttons, and it just didn't feel that great to use them, I'm gonna be honest. Strong and Agile style just makes it so you can make a move into a speed style, meaning like, oh, you can move first, but the move is weaker. Or strong style, meaning the move will hit harder, but you were like turn will get like delayed and stuff. I think that, it comes up with some pretty interesting strategies and stuff, and it feels like not an I win button. Like, you have to be pretty careful with how you go about combat with that, with the Agile and Strong style. And I really like that a lot. I think it adds a lot to the combat system, and I like to see it come back in like some of the mainline games as well. But Legend of Arceus has been like a huge step up in terms of Pokemon like 3D games, and I really hope that Gen 9 takes a lot from this game. I don't think they're going to take everything from this game, because I'm pretty sure Gen 9 is already being developed. But I really do hope that Gen 9 does take some aspects from this game. And I hope the next Legends game, if there's another Legends game, is like better than this one, because this is a good baseline of how Pokemon games should be in the future. And I just can't wait to see what happens next with Pokemon, which is something I didn't think I would be saying in a while. But here it is. I'm sure I'll have a lot more thoughts about it once I actually finish it and do the post game and all that stuff. But for right now, I'm really enjoying it. If you enjoy like Breath of the Wild or just any like, I guess, a Pokemon game and haven't played one in a while, I think it'll be up your alley. But if you're not really big into like open world stuff, probably stay away from it, because it has all the stuff from open world games you would expect. But yeah, really fun time, and I'm really enjoying it, which is great. I've been enjoying Pokemon games since like Sun and Moon, since like 2016. So yeah, it's been quite a while for me too. So yeah, very very good game.
What glitches have you run into? Because I like seeing those clips on Twitter of people just like, what the fuck's going on?
Honestly, like I only had one where it was like I forgot what Pokemon it was. I think it was like a Ponyta. It was just like on a tree. It was like stuck in a tree, and I just captured it, and it was really funny. Besides that, there's some wonky physics. Like it doesn't feel like, it's not like Breath of the Wild smooth where you could climb and glide and all that. Like, you could do that in this game too. But it definitely feels a lot more janky, especially climbing with one of the like ride Pokemon you get called like Sneasler. You can like ride on it and like it climbs stuff like Link. It just definitely does not feel as smooth as that. Even the gliding, it doesn't feel as smooth as something like Breath of the Wild. But they're trying, I guess. Small indie company, Game Freak.
Yeah, small indie company. Yep.
But yeah, but for the most part, I think the game is like a lot of fun, which is what kind of matters in the end. And I've seen a lot, even like the biggest Pokemon critics have been really enjoying this game. So yeah, I think Game Freak really did hit something special here. And I'm just happy Sinnoh got like something good, because I was really disappointed with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. As someone that's a big Gen 4 fan, this basically erased all of that. This is such a good love letter to people that loved Diamond and Pearl, and I'm very happy that we got this instead, because I'm really enjoying all like the nostalgia bait stuff that they put in this game, because I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's good shit. So yeah, also the music's fantastic too. Like, there's a little too much ambience music. I'm not really big on the whole ambient thing like with open world games, but when you do get into like battles and legendary fights, so the remixes are really good. So yeah, ton of fun. I'll be sure to talk about it more once I get to post game, so I could give even more detailed thoughts. But yeah, general impressions and just like, you know, I basically finished the game just minus the final boss. It's really good. I would highly recommend it.
All right, so now we're going to get into the Nintendo Direct that happened. So before we get into the announcements themselves, Damian, what did you think about this Direct? Like in general, because I knew that it was going to be like first half of the year, I think is what they said. So I wasn't expecting like anything too crazy, but they did have some pretty cool announcements, I will be honest. So.
Honestly, it was like really good. Like I also didn't think it was going to be that crazy. But this Direct had like a lot of stuff in it, and I was really impressed. Even without the big thing at the end, which is obviously going to be more biased towards me because I really like the final announcement. Even before that, I was like, oh, this is like a good Direct. So yeah, I really liked it. I think there was a little something for everyone. I know that's a meme, but you know, I really did think there was a little something for everyone in this Direct, and I think someone. Like most people that watch this probably came out with something they're really excited for. So yeah, I really enjoyed this Direct. I thought it was like an A-tier Direct for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just start picking and choosing. I mean, you know, the highlight of the show for me, despite it only being like a minute or two, bro, KLONOA, holy shit, bro. When I saw him, I was like, no fucking way they did this. I know that it's been like rumored and speculated with these trademarks and all this other bullshit with like KLONOA's coming back, KLONOA's coming back. I'm like, look, none of y'all motherfuckers bought the Wii remake, so they killed it, all right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, rightfully so. The Wii remake, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, it's not the greatest, but, like, if you want an affordable way to play KLONOA 1, at the time, before this announcement, that was probably the best way to do it, because KLONOA 1 on the PS1, it's like $100, $200 game, like, right off the bat, so that's kind of crazy. But the fact that they are remaking KLONOA 1 and 2 for the Switch, which is going to come out on July 8th, and then other consoles at a later date, Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. So it's going to be kind of crazy. I'm 100% going to buy this shit like 3 times over just to make sure that like we get the fucking sales numbers up, because I want a fucking KLONOA 3. I want more KLONOA. Like, he's a platforming franchise that I have honestly really, really loved when I was younger. Playing the KLONOA 1 game on the Wii, and then I eventually got KLONOA 2 on the PS2 when it was reasonably affordable. I'm not exactly sure how much that game is going for on eBay and shit like that, but I know the Game Boy Advance games, I bought those at like Play and Trade for like $10-15 each or something like that. Like, it was really, really cheap, but I'm sure now that those games are like double, triple those amounts because people want to play those games again, and rightfully so, because every single KLONOA game that I played personally, you know, the 1 and 2 games, and then the 1 and 2 games on the Game Boy Advance, those games are really, really good platformers, and I'm sure that, you know, I will thoroughly enjoy this remake, especially with how much that they're updating this game. Like, they're not just like, you know, porting like the PS2 game and like uprising everything. Like, they are redoing certain textures, redoing certain aspects. Like, I watched Pete Door's video where like he did a sort of like analysis trailer breakdown, which like I don't really fucking watch those. I'm gonna be honest, I hate watching those kinds of trailers, but just like seeing him react to like how much different the game looks, and like from what it looks like is that the first game, that they are literally taking the Wii game and just updating everything about that game, but on top of that, bringing the original KLONOA model into the first game, which, you know, if you remember the Wii remake, it wasn't like the original model. It was sort of like updated.
It's a different model.
Yeah, it was like a teenager sort of like KLONOA model.
I do prefer his PS1
weird
model. Yeah, I prefer his PS1 model, so I'm happy to keep it.
Exactly. But yeah, you know, what did you think about this crazy fucking announcement?
I honestly like, I like popped off. I'm like, KLONOA, like, excuse me. So yeah, them remaking KLONOA 1 basically again, plus bringing 2 in there is like really cool. I again, like you said, like you've been hearing rumors that it's been trademarked forever, and like, oh, we're gonna do something with KLONOA. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like, that's never gonna happen. And then it finally happened, and that's really cool because, you know, I love KLONOA 1 on Wii. You know, I thought it was like a really great platformer and stuff. I'm happy that they're, you know, again, like I said, they're going back to the PS1 model for KLONOA because I think it just looks better and not as awkward as the Wii versions like KLONOA. But yeah, I love the first game. I actually have the second game on PS2 as well. I just never played it, so I'm actually gonna be. This is gonna be my first time really playing KLONOA 2 when I get this. So I'm really excited for that. I did play the GBA ones as well, like the Game Boy Advance ones as well, and those were like really good platformers as well. It's just, you know, a very unique thing. It's kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Like, I guess Kirby E, not really, but like, you know, you could grab enemies and use them as like double jumps, and it's just a very fun mechanic that you could do a lot with. And I'm happy that it's sort of gained like a revival here. And I'm probably am gonna buy it twice. I'll probably buy it on Switch and then PS5 probably, or I guess PS4, because I do want the sale numbers to be good for this. I do want a KLONOA 3 or some kind of like another game. I think that would just be really cool. You know, I think he deserves it. You know, I don't think he ever really got enough spotlight on him. So yeah, I'm very excited to see him come back, and it's just a really fun platformer. Like, if you have any interest in any of these like colorful 2.5D platformers, definitely give KLONOA a shot. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, please, I'm begging you. If you're fucking listening, please just buy this game. Like, if you have any interest in platformer games, just buy this game when it comes out, because it's a really, really fucking good franchise, and I feel like that. You know, now that it is coming back and it has a chance to make a comeback, especially with, you know, everything that's been going on with Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, you know, the sort of like soft, you know, reboot of like platformers coming back into like the mainstream of gaming. Like, KLONOA can do well here, and I hope that it does, because if the sales numbers are anything like the Wii game, which I doubt that they will be, I'll be very fucking sad.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna do better because it's on multiple. It's gonna be on multiple consoles. So
yeah,
I'm hoping that the sales numbers are a lot better for this. And, you know, I think, you know, like Twitter is like a thing that exists now, so maybe people could like hype it up a little more and stuff. So yeah, buy the game, please. I want more.
So what announcement surprised you next?
Yeah, so I guess I'll go from like Fire Emblem Warriors. I feel like people kind of forgot about this because there's a lot of other shit that happened. So yeah, they're making another Fire Emblem Warriors game. This time it's just based off Three Houses. So I love Three Houses. I thought it was really, really goddamn good. And I thought the first Fire Emblem Warriors game was like pretty good. You know, I liked it. I liked all the improvements it did over Hyrule Warriors 1 when that game came out. You know, like being able to switch units and command units, and like just all your characters feel very customizable. You could like promote their classes just like in Fire Emblem and stuff. But I felt like the story obviously was really weak because, you know, it didn't really care about it. It was just like a crossover game. But even as a crossover game, it wasn't that great because it's mostly just Awakening and Fates characters with some like other characters from like some of the older Fire Emblem games, but not really enough of them to like be a cool crossover. So like it kind of failed in that aspect, and a lot of people were like kind of sour because of that. I think having the game just focused on Three Houses and focusing on, I guess, telling like another story in that series, I guess in that game, fits, because, you know, Three Houses is all about the different routes you could take and if you want what class you want to be and stuff. So I think having like another route that's not really, you know, that could be canon if you want or not, you know, whatever. I think that's a pretty neat way to just, you know, do a Warriors game. And honestly, I think the Warriors games that focus on one thing tend to be better. Like Age of Calamity was really good because it kind of just focused on Breath of the Wild stuff, and I think the story was just better in general. Even though I think it kind of flopped near the end, by making the game a little too happy with what actually happened in Breath of the Wild. That's fine. But I thought like the Persona 5 one was like amazing. Like that one was like, that had no right to be as good as it was, but I loved it. So I'm hoping Three Hopes kind of follows that same like pattern, whereas like it tells just as good as the story as the original game does, and, you know, just happens that really addicting Warriors gameplay for me. I know some people don't like it because it's really repetitive, but I really enjoy it. So yeah, really looking forward to this. You know, I think it got overshadowed by all the other games that were announced, but yeah, definitely I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to me and I guess like the Nintendo crossovers with the warrior style game, you know, when Hyrule Warriors was announced, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But like, it kind of makes sense for, I guess, the Zelda franchise to like have all of these Zelda characters in this warrior styles like game where they're just mowing down goblins and Zelda enemies. You know, that seemed like a lot of fun. And now we're kind of at the point where some people are maybe a little sick of it, maybe a little bit tired of it. But if they're able to tell another story within the Fire Emblem series that warrants this game to be told within this style, I'll allow it, you know, like I don't mind. I think that for me personally, like I haven't picked up a Warriors game since Hyrule Warriors, and maybe it's just because the gameplay's not that engaging for me. But then again, that's just how this series of games is, and maybe this series is just not for me. But yeah, you know, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, June 24th, you know, for those looking forward to it within the Fire Emblem series. Next thing I'll jump into, Mario Strikers Battle League. Honestly, I thought this fucking franchise was dead. I thought I thought they were never gonna do another Mario Strikers game, bro. Super Mario Strikers on the GameCube, goated Mario sports game, 100%. I think the one on the Wii, Mario Strikers Charged or whatever, I thought that was okay. So this one, it seems like they're doing some things a little bit differently. They're adding some new mechanics here and there. The whole like Battle League stuff with the customizable options and the online play. I feel like that this can be a very good Mario Strikers game, and I feel like that there's going to be a lot more people playing it this time around compared to the other ones, just because it's on the Nintendo Switch, and the Switch is a very, very popular console. And, there's definitely a number of people that have never played a Mario Strikers game because of it being on the GameCube and then the Wii and then it being dormant since then. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. And I'm glad that they kept like the sort of like art style and sort of like the same vibe that the other games had, because like that was definitely like one of the main appeals of those games, was that like the art style, the way that it looked, fucking Mario tackling Luigi into the fence, that shit was great. But yeah, very, very excited for Mario Strikers Battle League, which is going to come out June 10th, which is kind of soon.
They weren't lying when most of these games were like the first half of the year. It's insane. But honestly, I actually never played Mario Strikers, mostly because I got a GameCube pretty late into its life cycle, and I kind of like picked more of the bigger Nintendo games to play before the Wii like came out. So I actually never played Mario Strikers. Like the only real Mario like sports game I have a lot of nostalgia with is Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on DS. I played the shit out of that. But I always heard good things about Strikers. I'm also happy they kept the art style, because I always thought it was really cool. It's really gritty, like 2000s, like only soccer matters here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. There's a lot of great moments. I don't think they're gonna show like Waluigi like dry humping the air like when he wins or something. I think I don't think they're gonna allow that. But yeah, it looks fun. I mean, I'll probably buy it if everyone else gets it, so which might happen anyway. So yeah, I'll probably end up buying it as well. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm just happy they kept the that style, because I feel like the problem with a lot of the new Mario spin-off games is if they always feel like kind of the same. Like it's like here's Mario playing golf, and it's like very like it's very cutesy, samey stuff. Like I feel like Strikers already had like a pretty strong identity by itself, and I'm happy they kept that. And yeah, it looks fun. You can like hurt people.
You can tackle them. You can
tackle them into electric fences and shit. Like, it's pretty
actually
hardcore.
Have some fun.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like a good time. Splatoon 3 right now is coming out. Just somewhere Salmon Run and stuff. Yeah. Kirby. All right, so Kirby.
Oh my god.
Kirby's getting a lot of memes because of the new mouthful mode, which basically means Kirby could like sort of like, I guess, attempt to like suck some everyday objects in our world. So the one that keeps getting memed on is Kirby. He's a car. And he sucks it, and he can ride around as a car. He can like go around. It's quite the mechanic. I really thought this Kirby game wasn't going to do like a gimmick mechanic, because every Kirby game has had a gimmick mechanic. So I'm like, it's in 3D, so that's probably good enough for them. But not, they put one in, and I'm happy about it because it just looks so stupid. It's really cursed. But yeah, it looks like fun. And besides the mouthful mode, which looks like fun, it can add like some variety to the levels to sort of break up the traditional Kirby gameplay. They also show like you could evolve your abilities, which just looks cool. So the one that looks really cool was the fire one. So obviously you have the normal fire where you just shoot fire. The second upgrade for it looks like you just shoot meteors, and then the third one you just become like a dragon boy, like you just have like wings and stuff. Like that's really cool. It's kind of why I love Ratchet and Clank so much. Like, I always like it when you take a dinky little ability and just keep upgrading it until it's like something really cool by the end. That's really cool. Like I really, that looks like a mechanic that's gonna be really fun. And the game just looks great. Like I think this has to be one of the best looking Kirby games that have come out like recently. So I'm very much excited for Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Like every trailer has been selling me more and more in the game. I mean, all they had to say was Kirby in 3D. I would have bought it anyway. But the more and more they show about it, the more I'm happy about it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Kirby.
Yeah, honestly, when the direct was happening, first I showed up late to it, and then second, I think when they were showing off the Kirby stuff, I kind of like walked away to like the bathroom or some shit, so I kind of missed it. So then when I was on Twitter, I was like, wait, what the fuck's going on with this Kirby shit and whatever? And then I went to go and rewatch the trailer, and I was like, oh, that's what's going on. They got new Kirby, doing some other thing with his mouth, interesting to say the least. Do I mind it? No, not really. Like I think that them introducing another mechanic, another gimmick, if you will, for another Kirby game, not that surprising. Like you said, I thought that they weren't going to do anything super crazy this time around just because this was Kirby's first 3D adventure. But the fact that they are introducing, Kirby able to suck up a car, and now he's a car, and then he sucks up a traffic gun, and he's a traffic gun, seems a little silly, seems a little goofy, a little funny, but that is Kirby at the end of the day. He is a goofy character. So yeah, and the memes that have come out from it are great. I love it. But yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, March 25th. Oh, so more excited for it just because it does look like a very, very solid Kirby game, and one that's going in the direction that many fans have wanted for years, in the 3D direction. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, so let's talk about the Mario Kart stuff, because we've talked about Mario Kart twice on the past episodes. So, Mario Kart 9, when they were like, hey, we know that you guys want a new Mario Kart game. Here you go. And then there was DLC. It's called the Booster Course Pass. It's $25, 48 courses in it. The first wave of it is going to come out on March 18th, and they'll be continuing to launch waves with this pass going all the way up until, I believe they said, the end of 2023.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't mind. They could have done this earlier. I think the reason why they're doing this now is because people are like, we want a Mario Kart 9. And they're like, well, if we're going to make another Mario Kart 9, if we're going to make a sequel to Mario Kart 8, they want to introduce a new gimmick, a new mechanic, something that makes it different from Mario Kart 8, right? Build upon what they've already done before to make it a proper sequel, which is understandable. So they're like, fuck it, we got like these old courses, we'll just bump them up, we'll bring some other courses from like the app game, which is part of the first wave. I think it was like Tokyo something or whatever, which looks pretty cool, honestly. And I think the other courses that they've updated, like Coconut Mall and Choco Mountain, all of that other stuff, I don't mind this pass, but obviously, people are like, we want Mario Kart 9, but I'm like, you can't really rush Nintendo, especially because they will 100% take their fucking time, because they know at the end of the day, the games are going to sell when they're ready. So yeah, the course pass, $25, 48 courses. That's a pretty good deal. I'm going to be honest. Like, that is a lot of content there. And the fact that they are releasing it oh so slowly throughout the next 2 years is going to be a lot of fun, because, at this point, Mario Kart 8 on the Switch is like 3 years old or something like that. Like, it's a few years old. So them introducing new courses, new maps, it's going to make playing Mario Kart Online a lot more interesting instead of playing the same old courses over and over again, which I'm sure, people that play Mario Kart today don't mind it, but, introducing new stuff into the game is always a good thing, in my opinion, depending on what it is.
Yeah, so, with all the rumors of Mario Kart 9, I thought Mario Kart 9 was, like, getting pretty close. So, I was like, okay, well, I can't wait for Mario Kart 9 when we talked about that. But I guess with this, that basically means Mario Kart 9 is a very far ways off, and we probably won't see it until, like, 2024 or 5 at this point. So, that kind of sucks. But I think having $25 for 48 new courses, that's really good. I know they're not new, like, specifically, like, they're all remaster ones. But if they pick some good ones, then that's fine. I know a lot of people like Coconut Mall. I really want Waluigi Pinball, because I don't think that's in Mario Kart 8. Like, that was from DS. I love that that course. So hopefully that one's in there. This is not gonna be as toxic as the Smash thing, where it's like, oh, what Smash character is gonna be in there? And if it's not in there, I'm gonna hate you. But obviously, it's not gonna be as toxic as that. But it's gonna be nice to have like a new, he has a new wave of Mario Kart things every direct or whatever. Like, that'd be nice. That 48 tracks is basically like a whole Mario Kart game, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, for $25, that's pretty insane. And, people love Mario Kart 8. I mean, I love Mario Kart 8. So it's going to be good reasons for me to actually like revisit that game, because I haven't played it since like the Deluxe came out. So, yeah, that's fine. I hope there's like more characters too. Like, that'd be cool if they added, like maybe like a character pack, or they add a character for each thing, which you probably won't, because you probably would have said that by now. But it would have been cool to have some more characters as well. There's just throwing some more, like, like maybe play as Piranha Plant or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like, I think having all these retro stages remastered and stuff is really neat. I'll probably end up buying it anyway, even though I want a Mario Kart 9. But, you can't have everything. So yeah, this looks like the next best thing until we wait for Mario Kart 9.
And also, if you're paying for the extra like Nintendo Online thing that gets you the N64 games, I believe this comes with it. The booster course
honestly, at this point, I might just get the
I mean thing. At this point, you might as well just buy it, so then you get everything else on top of it. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's up to you. Obviously, there is that option to just buy the course patch, which is what I might do. I'm not entirely sure yet, but we'll just see. I think, I'm probably just going to buy the course pass, because it is, like you said, it's 48 courses. That's pretty much a whole last game, and they're going to be releasing these oh so slowly. So, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be good. They're probably developing Mario Kart 9 or coming up with ideas right now, and when they are ready to show us what that is, they'll show us what it is, and I'm sure that game will be part of the next Nintendo console or whatever they decide to do. But we won't talk about that speculation shit.
It really shows how much life the Switch still has. Like it's still like they're really confident. Like they're not even gonna have another Switch like by the end of 2023, which is insane to me. Like we're gonna have this base Switch for a very long time. I think there was a thing where it's like, oh, the Switch is like midway through its life. Like that's what Nintendo said. I'm like, that's crazy. It's already been like 5 years or something. Like, oh my god. So yeah, that's crazy to think about. Well, speaking of that, I guess another really big announcement that came out of nowhere was Nintendo Switch Sports. So yeah, this came out of nowhere. It honestly felt like I'm in the Wii era again. Like we got a Strikers game, KLONOA, and like Wii Sports. I'm like, what is this? So yeah, Nintendo Switch Sports. I actually checked on the eShop. It's actually not $60. It's a $40 game, which is like pretty cool. So that's I was gonna say, if this looks cool, I'm not paying $60 for this. So it's not. And it wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo starts bundling this in with new Switches, like just how Wii Sports was. But yeah, anyway, it looks good. I mean, it's just like Wii Sports. I mean, there's not like some classic ones, and there's no boxing, I don't think, and there's no golf, I don't think either, which were in the original Wii Sports. But there's bowling. I love bowling as a kid. I used to play that a lot during the Wii. Boxing I played a lot because that was just a waggle fest and it was fun to me. So it's kind of sad that's not there. But it has some Wii Sports Resort stuff as well with the that weird sword one. I think that was in Wii Sports. Wii Sports Resort. So yeah, that's cool. I know some people are making a fuss that you can't play as Mii's, but apparently you can. During the Direct, there's a very small window where the two guys were playing. And you can see that we're using Mii's. So yes, you could use Mii's. You're not just stuck with those weird characters. You could use your Mii if you want. I know that's a big. Even for me, it kind of felt a little weird. I'm like, where's the Mii's? It doesn't feel like a Wii Sports game without like Mii's. And yeah, apparently you could use Mii's. So don't freak out. You could use Mii's. But yeah, it looks cool. I mean, it's about what you expect from a sports sequel, like a Wii Sports sequel, but not Wii Sports. And it just came out of nowhere, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, them announcing this, I'm like, all right, cool. I was waiting for when this was going to happen because it obviously happened with the Wii U where they literally just repackaged Wii Sports and just HD'd the graphics. But this time around, it looks like that they're putting maybe a little bit more care into it. Not that much because it is a $40 game, which is nice. That is nice to hear. It would have been cool if it was $30, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But, you got soccer, volleyball, bowling, tennis, badminton, and the swordplay Chambara. So, yeah, 6 games here. Obviously, some classics are missing, but I think that the ones that they did pick out from the original Wii Sports, such as bowling and soccer, or not soccer, bowling and tennis, and yeah, those are probably the most popular ones out of that bunch. But yeah, and I think the soccer one, you could use the sort of like strap that comes with Wii Fit Adventure.
Ring Fit, yeah.
Yeah. Ring Fit. My apologies. I'm saying all of the wrong fucking words right now. But yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty cool. And it's Wii Sports, so you could get your mom back in on the Wii Sports grind if they want to do that or some shit, or have some friends over, your normie friends that don't play games, and now you can play bowling with them at home.
But yeah, besides that, everything else was more like we already knew. So like Advance Wars we already knew about, which still looks good. Splatoon 3 we already knew about. Triangle Strategy we knew about. I guess another big thing, well, I guess 2 big things here. Metroid Dread, getting an update. There's going to be like baby mode and like hardcore mode if you want to die in one hit.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, I thought Metroid Dread was very like a hard game. So I think honestly having like a easier mode is nice for people that are like not as good, or like maybe they like the exploration but are not too good on the combat. And I'm happy Nintendo's putting like a more accessibility into the game. Dread mode seems to be like, just your hardcore, you die in one hit mode, which is cool if people are really good at the game and want a little more extra challenge. And apparently it's going to get a second DLC or free DLC with a boss rush mode, which sounds pretty fun as well. So, if you're still playing Metroid Dread, you got those 2 updates to keep you busy. And here's the other one. Earthbound is going to be on the Nintendo Switch Online. plus Earthbound Beginnings. I think the Earthbound dude was like, hey, watch for the direct, because there's going to be like some news. And I think people suspect that Earthbound was going to be on the Nintendo Switch Online, and now it is. So that's pretty cool to see. I was really hoping for a Mother 3 thing. Like, I thought it was going to be like, here's Earthbound, and here's Earthbound Beginnings, and then here's Mother 3. But nah, it was just Earthbound Beginnings on the Nintendo Switch Online, which is cool. I still never played Earthbound, so I think this is my excuse to finally play it at some point when I have time. I would definitely give it a go here because, Earthbound was considered like a classic among people. So it's going to be nice to finally play that game on my Switch. So that's good.
Yeah, and the amount of times Nintendo has like re-released this game like digitally on platforms has honestly been like really, really cool because, this game has been sort of like, I guess, the scapegoat of the Nintendo franchise before the Wii U era. Like a lot of people were, wondering like, how can I play Earthbound? And like it wasn't available on literally anything. And then they released it on the Wii U with the Virtual Console, and now it's on the Switch Online, which is a lot more accessible to people today, which is kind of cool. And also Earthbound Beginnings, which, if you want to play that now, you can. And, one day when Nintendo wants to break the internet, they will announce Mother 3, but that day is not here yet, obviously. I guess the last thing I really want to talk about before we get into Xenoblade 3, the Disney sort of racer, that shit was weird. I don't know what the hell that was about. It's a free-to-play kart racer, which is good because like you're competing with Mario Kart here on the Switch, so you kind of have to make it free-to-play, and they're gonna add other characters and things like that. But it pretty much looks like Mario Kart. It seems like if your kid wants to play a kart racer but they don't like Mario, this one might be the avenue if they like Disney. So
it's actually really interesting that that Chocobo GP, which is basically Final Fantasy Kart. That was shown during the Japanese direct, but it didn't show it here for some reason. I don't know if Disney was like, "Hey, we wanna be in the American one. Screw Square." Because apparently in the Japanese direct they show like, oh, you can play as Cloud and like the Chocobo racing. I'm like, that sounds cool.
Okay.
I'd rather do that. But honestly, the thing that actually did turn me off about the game was that it was like a free to play model with that. I don't know about that because I kind of like kart racers that aren't Mario Kart because they do some cool things sometimes. Obviously, Mario Kart is always gonna be like the top one, like because this is Mario Kart. But I really like Crashing Racing is really fun. I really like the Sonic racing games. So I thought this game would be like a cool like the Sonic Team Racing, well not Team Racing, the other one, Sonic All Stars Racing, yeah. But just with Disney characters. Well, that sounds pretty cool to have the specials and stuff. But I don't know. As soon as they say free to play with like seasonal stuff, and you probably have to buy characters, I'm just like, that felt like kind of a turn off for me. That I wasn't really gonna like bother with it. And it does look like they're kind of just reusing a lot of models from the Disney Affinity stuff. Like Sully just looks straight up from Disney Affinity. So that's probably where they're using those assets from. So yeah, it could have been cool, but I mean, it still could be cool. But yeah, it's kind of just there if you want to play it.
Yeah. All right, so go on.
Okay.
Go on, King.
All right, so yeah, Xenoblade 3. So this was already rumored for a while that was going to happen. When Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition came out, Melia, one of the voice actresses in Xenoblade 1, is like, oh yeah, I did this thing for Xenoblade 1, which was Future Connected, which was like a epilogue to Xenoblade 1 that was added with the Definitive Edition. But she's also like, oh yeah, so I'm also doing like Xenoblade 3 or something, and she just like said it. And they're like, oh wait, I don't think we're supposed to say that. So yeah, apparently she became really big in the UK because I think she was like the new Doctor Who and stuff. So yeah, she became a pretty big name. So so I think she just said that by accident. But so yeah, I already knew Xenoblade 3 was happening, and there was a lot of reports that Monolith, the people that make Xenoblade, were like really like, yo, the Switch is so underpowered, please Nintendo help us. So I thought Xenoblade 3 was gonna be a little more ways out just because of that, but it looks like it's coming out, and it looks insane. All right, so usually I also don't watch trailer analysis videos and all that, or I usually watch a trailer like once or twice just to get the idea, and then wait for the game to come out. Dude, this trailer was dense. So this game is not like Xenoblade 1 and 2 where the two separate things. Like most JRPG series, you could kind of just play any one. Like Persona 5, you don't need to play Persona 1, 2, 3, or 4 to understand any of it, right? You can just play Persona 5 if you want. That's how most JRPGs work. The only exception to that is like Kingdom Hearts, where you have to play like fucking everything. Xenoblade looks like it's going that direction too, because it's not really a spoiler anymore because if you watch this trailer, you basically got spoiled about what the big surprise is in Xenoblade 2. Basically, Xenoblade 2, like the whole game is like its own thing. There was some connections to 1, but it's like more like little references that you would expect from like any JRPGs. They both share like Nopon as a race and all that other stuff. It's like, whatever. But towards the end of the game, it's basically real. Yeah, this is all connected. Like, that's pretty sick. I lost my mind when that happened. And it looks like Xenoblade 3 is actually going to just be both games together now. Because at the end of both games, they kind of are in like the same place. Or well, it was rumored to be in the same place. But now it's confirmed. And now they're all fighting each other. And I'm like, oh, that shit looks sick. So, yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know they're really going to commit to that idea. But it looks like they are. Just the box art with having the like Makana sword from Xenoblade 1 and the Uriah Titan from Xenoblade 2 both there. Like, it looks so good. I honestly, I could talk about it a lot, but I'm not, because there's like just a lot of like spoilery stuff, so I won't say anything. Just in terms of just all the, I guess like here's the thing that people really care about, like the character designs and stuff. So it's still the same artists from Xenoblade 2, right? So, you know, Mr. Hentai Man that people like to always make fun of. Well, it looks like the designs are a lot more modest this time. Seems to really take more from Xenoblade 1's like character design than 2's. Like even some of X, like all of them are like wearing some drip. Like they're all like they have like more like modern looking outfits from X, but it looks, you know, they're a lot more well proportioned. You know, I love Pyra and stuff, but I do know why people have issues with her. But yeah, I think everyone here looks a lot more, you know, well presented and stuff, just like Xenoblade 1. So I don't really see anyone complaining about the character designs this time. You know, just the general direction of it just looks really cool. It seems to be a lot more serious than 2 was, because 2 was a lot more lighthearted and, you know, I guess more shonen, like anime-esque. That's what the director wanted from Xenoblade 2, while Xenoblade 1 was a little more serious. It seems like they might be mixing the two styles together for this game, since it's supposed to be like that anyway. But yeah, very, very interesting stuff from just a story perspective, just because there's just so many things from Xenoblade 1 and 2. It's going to be insane. And in terms of everything else, you know, I think the game looks great as well. Like it seems to be using the Xenoblade 2 engine. Hopefully they improve it a bit, because I know the the portable mode of Xenoblade 2 kind of ran like shit, just because, like, you know, the game is trying to do a lot on the Switch, which is not a very strong system to begin with. Mm-hmm. But you know, Monolith has always done really great jobs making the open world and just making just really engaging, like, everything. So yeah, I'm very excited for this game. You know, and it's coming out this year, which is insane.
Yeah.
I thought this game was going to be like a next year thing, but the fact that it's coming out in September is insane. And that also confirms to me that I think Nintendo has something even bigger for like November, which has to be like Breath of the Wild 2 at this point. Like this year is insane. Like my game of the year, if Breath of the Wild 2 is confirmed for this year, this Xenoblade 3 and like God of War 2 I don't know what I'm going to pick for my game of the year. It's going to be insane. But yeah, definitely I'm very excited for this game. Just from the story perspective, like just having both games together and like they actually did it and stuff, like they didn't skate away from it, is going to be great. But that does kind of have a big barrier of entry though. Like if you want to really understand this game, the director after the direct was over is like, oh yeah, you can play this game first. Like don't listen to him. Like you should definitely play Xenoblade 1 and 2 first before this game. They're both on Switch. They're both like my favorite games ever. Like just play them if you have any interest in Xenoblade 3. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you got like hundreds of hours on hand, yeah, fuck it, just
yeah. I mean, they're long
just
as
get
shit.
into it.
Xenoblade and Persona, like basically my two favorite JRPG franchises. Like each game is gonna take you at least 80 hours, like just doing the game. So they're very long games, but I think they're worth it if you really like JRPGs. They're some of the best, I think, and I love them both a lot. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for Xenoblade 3. And here's another thing. Like, I really don't think they're going to continue Xenoblade, like, Chronicles at this point. Like, I think this feels like the finale to this, like, saga of games, since the Xeno series is not really, like, just limited to Xenoblade. They had a Xenogear on PS1, Xenosaga on PS2, and now Xenoblade with the Wii and then Switch. And this seems like a perfect conclusion to, like, Xenoblade as, like, general. So I really like them to not really, like, further milk the series. Like, they could do a Xenoblade X2 because that didn't have a sequel on the Wii U, and that's kind of separate. But after this game, like depending how it ends, I really do want like the Xenoblade series just to end, and they could work on like another Xeno game or just a new IP in general. Because I think you can't really top this. Like combining both 1 and 2 together like this, like I think that's where you kind of end the series at that point. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited for you, man. Like this shit sounds crazy, but
dude, all the Nintendo fans getting angry. It's like, why does Xenoblade always get so much shit? I'm like, because Monolith, that's the only thing they have, so let them do what they want. Like the problem with Pikmin and like, you know, like F-Zero, like that's made by Nintendo R&D, like, and they're making other stuff that's more profitable. Xenoblade is made by Monolith, so they could just do whatever they want. So that's kind of why you see more Xenoblade stuff, because that's what Monolith does. So yeah, like retro is like kind of with Nintendo too. Like that's why they're making Metroid Prime 4 and stuff. So yeah, they're kind of like stuck wherever Nintendo wants. Monolith doesn't give a shit, just do whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, one day we'll get Pikmin 4, guys. Don't worry.
One day, Copium.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything that I really have to say about the Direct. I think that this Direct was pretty good, like all things considered. With the surprise announcements that they threw at us, especially with most of them pretty much coming out this year. And the key announcements that really threw me off were KLONOA, Mario Strikers, those games.
Those games are big surprises. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very much looking forward to those. So, yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, that's everything.
All right. So thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast. Once again, we will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See ya.